with that veteran status that's been able to build up with KaBuM Esports. But we are in a champion select, and it is time to see who can break this tie. Pike's going to be a first ban with Camille getting taken out of the hands of Evie. Such good play last game on that to help the team start initiating fights.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see whether they can get any aggression into that bottom lane for Cheeton, for Riev to be able to capitalize on. I think that when Vivid has just been able to play Tahm Kench and facilitate team play, he has looked at his best Riv. So we'll see whether they try and force him away from that, or whether, you know, potentially the Soraka level 1 was something that they're now thinking about.
Detonation focused me like that, Tahm Kench, the Nocturne, a bit of the Global, the Camille's out, maybe it becomes a Shen, and they put a little bit more damage between Udapon and Seros. A few options there. We see that Falcons taken away from Cheeton. Absolutely hilarious.
And it is going to be the Tahm Kench ban away, so I expect the Urgot insta-lock to come out here. Actually thinking about it, is it going to be potentially the Aatrox, because we saw Xantin's actually have an impressive performance on it? Not going to be the case, and the thumbs up is there.
Locked in. Feeling very good about that pick. He's going to bring Summoner Spellbook to the top side and try and give Xantids trouble here. Do they lock in top, or do they start going for something in the bot lane to make sure Cheeton and Riev have what they want?
So now the big question is there, can you take something like Zyra Khan? You know, is there a duo that you're looking for? Maybe it's a jungler. Or do you feel the pressure to take Aatrox? Because maybe, you know, Evie could be swapping that Urgot around. We've seen it a little bit internationally in the mid lane. You know, potentially the fact that Aatrox can also be played in multiple positions. However, they do get themselves 2 power picks in their own right, looking for that team fight flavor.
Cheeton on the Kai'Sa 2 regular season plays. Very well known for his Tristana, but he's going to put his hands in the ladies of the bot lane. Kai'Sa this time. Ranger picks that up for him. It's going to be the Ezreal Braum here. Udapon felt very good on the Ezreal, not needing safety of his team, but also, and being able to play his own game.
And now you feel it has to be the top lane, you know. Otherwise, the Aatrox is going to get pinched away. You're going to be stuck in a tank matchup. You don't want that. So it is going to be locked in right now. So Xantin's taking that one into the top lane. I think that both of the teams very evenly matched in strength right now. You would give the advantage to late game Kai'Sa, but Udapon showed how adept he is at navigating these skirmishes and team fights and being able to persist throughout that mid game. Certainly would be feeling confidence after the last performance, and maybe trusting Cheeton to make a couple of characteristic mistakes and overextended. Ezreal Braum does punish that.
Kai'Sa Alistar for that bot, so you can kind of stop the damage, but we're waiting to see what the map plays out as now for top lane on that, jungle on each side, and for that mid lane. What are they going to be able to put in the Rift? 9 seconds left for KaBuM Esports here on their phase 2 bans. They take Sero 6 away. Karma's another big play for him in the mid lane, and they may try to focus something else on the map. It's going to be Zoe going out, and they leave Steel what could be his Nocturne jungle once again. Yeah,
I believe that's the 3 most played of Seros being hit there, and I think that they're acknowledging the fact that when Jinkedo was playing well, this was a team that looked like they were in form, in rhythm. I mean, they had control of that when he was able to take the fight to Jensen, and I think that, you know, that's the respect of the LeBlanc, the respect of the Aurelia, and both of these teams kind of hinging on the mid lane picks right now.
Jinkedo says, Syndra, right now, I'll be taking that one. On the other side, the Karma was still left up. Seros could be able to get that inner flame working in the mid lane, and he will be able to lock that in. The team gives it to him. Last pick now for the jungle. Steel has that Nocturne open he's been playing quite a bit of. Also looking towards the Kindred and the Xin Zhao, which are still open.
Yeah, and this is going to be a frustrating pick to deal with. I would expect, you know, a ganking jungler to come out as well to try and support this pushing mid lane. Maybe you go towards a Gragas for Steel and see if you can get the early game rolling. Kindred, wow, that is a lot of damage one more time coming out. Once again, kind of a strange comp to start up fight, so not saying it's bad for Detonation Focus Me, but just limiting the windows that Raz always talks about to be able to get these things started. And facilitating Rangers pick, you know, the last pick lock-in could be here. Don't expect that one.
Rolling balls around the Rift. That never-ending snowball. Nidalee hovered here. 5 seconds left for Ranger in the jungle. He's going to get Nidalee played as he roams around.
Okay.
That's going to be a first, especially for the regular season plays. We do not see that in his champion pool. We always know these players play it. I'll always say that as well. Just be like, oh, it's his first time? Never. But they want to go just as aggressive on the side of KaBuM.
Yeah, I think they want to be able to match pace in the jungle. I think they want to be able to get the clear up nice and quick as well. Not to mention the fact that something overlooked a little bit in Nidalee's kit at times is the attack speed steroid. So if he's able to get Cheetan going in that back line, if he's able to fly in there with the heal and be able to start taking people out, certainly is a possibility. He also has good lanes to play around. You know, the stun in the mid lane, the CC in the top lane that can be continuous. Certainly avenues for Ranger to be able to attack when he has been good in the early game, as he has been a couple of times now against DFM. They have looked super solid, and remember, this game is for all the marbles. This is for the shot at the best of 5. So you've got to trust that both of these teams would be very confident in their picks.
You have to remember KaBuM, a team that has been through those trials and tribulations with Phantoms and Riev on the bot side of the map, helping the rest of the mentality of the team through games like this, through pressured times. On the other side of the rift, Detonation Focus Me feeling very good, finally being able to represent the region of Japan in the LGL as they come onto the world stage. But who will be able to break the tie is the question. Both teams have had power surges in their plays, but also falter. Will they be able to find just the power this time around?
And I think two different kinds of pressure. KaBuM trying to reclimb into groups through a best of 5 to reach former glory. New roster, same storied organizations.
Yep.
While Detonation Focus Me, they are trying to do what no LJL team has ever been able to do. Such domestic dominance, but never a crack at the World Championship. They get it right now. All that is standing in their way is the Brazilian lineup.
And I love what we've been kind of saying is the pressure of these teams that are in the growing regions are absolutely able to put a lot of their high caliber play on show here at Worlds. It's not like, oh, this is going to be another game. They might have a chance. These games are all very close and pushing some of the teams that we figured would fly through these groups all the way to the brink and possible losses. Here now, one team has to lose as the other moves forward. Detonation Focus Me versus KaBuM live on the Rift for our tiebreaker match.
And KaBuM seems to be warming up. They seem to have been getting better and better as this tournament progressed. They would be coming in here thinking, you know what, we've finally found our form, we've finally found our rhythm. Maybe some overconfidence, as that's actually a very nice ward clear coming out of Evie there. On the hands of Cheetan versus the Cloud9 lineup. But you also like that. You miss 100% of shots you don't take. He missed a couple that he did, but a couple will eventually stick. And what is with Udapon and first item just gold stack?
He is raking it in, that's for sure. A good return on investment on those summoner choices. Kleptomaniac just getting tons of gold. So pretty same starts around the board except for that Doran shield up top. And the talisman for Hunter's Machete, obviously, for our junglers. A big hit from Xantez, but shielded, not a problem. As nothing happens. It feels good. You fly through the air and you're like, ah, not so much.
Yeah,
a little bit of harass.
Certainly a fun champion. As we see a couple of Aries go toe-to-toe, shorter cooldown in the bottom lane. However, because they saw Xantin's top lane, maybe they think that he's up there. Steel going for the gank.
Titan already, or Cheetan rather, and he gets the concussive blows on him. Winter's Bite will not be locked down as they back up off of this fight. A good first flash, but could be a rinse and repeat for Cheetan there on the bot side as Udapon continues to farm and push forward.
Yeah, just a flash for a flash. You could see right there, not able to flash the headbutt coming out of Riev. Certainly a mechanic available to steal, but not able to time that one, didn't even go for it. So the 80 carry will lose the summoner spell. You can see that they really want this gank, but there's a ward in the brush. Steel stuck around for such a long time.
Back towards the mid lane for him. Eyes on Ranger on the top side. They'll see he has double buffs, and he's flying through his jungle. It looks like Evie will not be taken off guard by this, and now Ranger knows, I'm in vision. I'm going to have to play this one a little bit more safe. Steel on the bot side of the map, easily able to clear Raptors now, and he's not forced to do anything too scary.
Yeah, potentially wants a repeat gank as well. Knows that Ranger could be in the top side of his jungle. Now, once again, spot him on that ward. So he is sticking further towards that bottom lane. Not necessarily the most blue buff intensive champion is the Kindred.
Look all the mana he's using.
Doesn't mind having it.
Right.
See whether he just sticks with the aggressive clear. Because it looks like he wants to get some counter jungling done.
So what kind of is this first move? We know Steel on the Kindred this game, quite a bit of damage, but also for Ranger, where are these junglers going to be looking?
Well, I think the big thing for Ranger is if he gets towards the jungle item, he will completely outpace what Kindred's able to do. So I think that the big thing is, you know, continue to farm up And then Steel is all about, let's pick some strategic fights, you know? I'm going to get myself a red smite. In the 1v1, if I dodge the initial spear, I'm going to definitely be able to take the Nidalee down. So let's try and force some skirmishes, some 2v2s, some 3v3s in the bottom lane. So I think it's going to be important to keep track of where the summoner spells discrepancies are, and also how much access Seros gets to the wave. Because if you're able to just continually push Jinkedo in this mid lane, he's going to struggle to be able to shove out and maintain mana, which means he's not going to have kill threat. And Zeros can start, you know, trying to help out Evie, trying to team up with Steel, as we see maybe someone like Jensen and Blabber do. Evie actually going to catch Ranger out here, deny a camp. That's pretty big.
Oh, hello. So yeah, denying Grom, still gets back to lane and doesn't have to miss any CS there. So great call from Detonation. Detonation focused me to work kind of off a play, but around the map for each other here in the early part of the game.
And I think that the big thing is, given the fact that we've seen Seros play this pick once, and he did go towards the supportive items, his build is going to be so much cheaper. So he's going to be online at a much earlier portion on this game. And he is working with a double marksman composition. Sure, Ezreal not all that reliant on attack speed, but it is certainly nice. And the fact that Kindred is able to get fantastic benefit out of it as well just means that they can force around objectives. And if he ever is able to group up with Steel, with Udapon, I think that Seros could be the swing point in this matchup.
Roaming around as Steel has 1 mark on his Kindred. Doesn't have too much marked up just yet to find anything else at this point. Soul Flare, Inner Flame, the Mantrid Q there being used to push the wave as we see it. Kind of being pushed in towards Seros, but no CS discrepancy to start things off in mid lane. Jinkedo likes to be aggressive. We see him on that LeBlanc recently, but you're not going to be able to kill the Karma right away. So,
especially not a Karma with heal.
Yeah, patience is going to pay off in that lane.
Yeah, it's certainly going to have to be a virtue. This is the exact same setup that was run last time. And once again, Steel wouldn't exactly mind a little bit of a fight there. As soon as that spear goes wide out of range, he loses a lot of his potential to win those team fights. So I think that, you know, now red smites are picked up. Certainly is an explosive jungle matchup to track.
Back to lane. Teleports on the marksman. Haven't seen that for quite a few games here in the play-ins, but is coming back for Cheeton and Udapon here.
And just checking in with another player tendency here, Riv. We've seen for 2 games in a row now that Udapon going towards the Sheen as a first item shows that he's not willing to concede pressure in this lane. It's going to cost him an earlier evolve that can come out of that mana mune. But for right now, if there is any jungle influence on this lane, if they're ever able to get, you know, teleport gang set up, or potentially an early dragon around this mountain, going to do so much more damage. So I love looking at individual players' tendency. You can see that Steel acknowledges it, starts to play a little bit more around his AD carry.
And that's completely based on Udapon. He's going to have to hit those shots. The moment he starts missing, that Sheen feels like nothing. And he is making them count right now on Cheeton. They trade a bit of the same damage back, but Steel is ready. Kind of wanting 6 before he comes back. We'll see that here off possibly red. Get a look at his experience bar.
Well, what that means is right now they've got a push in the mid lane. You can see Seros is able to get first access to those waves, is starting to shove in on Jinkedo. He's gone back, he's got himself his first shop. So this could start to swing a little bit if he's able to get some harass down. But if Seros just mitigates the lane and plays against a minion, should be able to consistently do that. With the Sheen, you know, you can see right now, Udapon's able to also push up in his lane, which gives this whole bottom side control over to Steel. You can do 2 things with that. You can either fight for vision, maybe try and invade the next blue buff, take a dragon, or as soon as you get your vision set up, you know exactly where Ranger isn't. Then you pick your window of when you want to attack the top side of the map. And I think that they've shown that when Evie is on these bruiser pickups, they do like to play around him. So we'll see whether that's the case.
They did have a bit of pressure towards the top side to start things off, but Evie's vision has kept him safe, allowing him to be somebody that can come back up in the fights here. Jinkedo looking for that pressure top for Steel. As you said, that pressure top lane is going to be a big thing. Steel stops it for now from KaBuM.
Because the difference in the game that they were able to win earlier this morning was the fact that Xantins was just completely unchecked. Like, he was split pushing for days, able to knock down turrets, became a monster. You know, in one of the Baron fights that happened, he was in the side lane, just kills the Scion, takes a couple of turrets for himself, continues to march it down. So I think that, you know, that this is certainly the pick to watch. Evie prioritize the Urgot over the Aatrox, and I agree with him. Based off measuring strength at the moment, I think that Urgot does sit slightly above. But now he has to be able to prove that justification in the pick of leaving both powers up.
Absolutely. What do you think gives it that edge? The versatility, the all-around map play?
I think it's the fear. I think the fact that we've seen so many, you know, harpoons stick, but then to flash in to guarantee the fear afterwards just seems to be a little bit more disruption, and executes when it's such a tank-heavy meta is very important. Obviously, not many tanks being run into this game, but it's something that we certainly saw throughout the regular season that came through for that Urgot.
Very true. Percent damage is always going to catch your eye because they're good, but executes, those are great. We love those. Definitely something you want on the Rift if you can afford it, and that's what you get out of the Urgot on the top side, that fear beyond death. Back down to bot, 91 to 86. So we get a quick hit in from Riev, and the arcane shift from Utapon for safety. So still trying to tag on a bit of that aggression, but also ensure Ranger and Jinkato have a bit of safety for this first drink.
Yeah, and you have to applaud Jinkato as Titan takes some damage here.
Man, good luck, or good thing that arcane shift was down. That could be Cheeton going down very fast. They're still gonna get aggression onto this dragon. One more hit locks down Riev, but that'll wear off. Beautiful Soul Flare coming in. True Shot Barrage almost takes down Ranger. He's gonna have to be careful. No help for Riev. Level 6 is there as he throws down the ultimate quite late. It's not gonna be enough, and first blood for Steel.
Huge turnaround play there. It looked like they had all of the control mid lane. They walk it down to the Dragon, but one more time it's Cheeton, the inexperienced rookie, taking too much damage underneath that turret. Riev wasn't there to save him. It costs the team everything. And DFM strike first.
The idea of the play was fantastic. Bots pushed, we have Dragon priority, but like you said, too much damage taken.
And you can see that Riev wanted to walk towards the Dragon. He split into going through the Cry Brush. At the same time, Cheeton walked up to spell fling underneath turret. He is not in this play. And Ranger had already taken all of that free damage on the Dragon. Complete disaster, but Detonation focused me one more time, just capitalizing on the small mistakes.
Rolling a little bit of that momentum from last game into this one. Even with that loss, they were still playing strong-minded and starting their own fights, making things happen, and not really having vision on Dragon there did not deter them from biting back. Now 1-0, just 11 minutes in. KaBuM still gonna stay in the face bot lane as Cheeton tries to get these threaded attacks in and knock down Utapon and Vivid.
But you can just see how confident Utapon is at the moment.
Yep.
You know, flawless CSing under the turret, rotating with his team. At times has been an aggressive player, but I like how conservative he has been today, you know, farming up to that 2-3 item mark. In these high pressure games, there is nothing worse than playing from behind. So just ensuring that even the slightly ahead game has been crucial for this lineup. And again, the Kindred, as well as Karma trying to team up, not going to work this time.
I was going to say as well in the Ezreal, it feels bad to even fall behind at all.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
For him to be able to stay on par but get a few assists in there to start off is beautiful.
There's two kinds of Ezreals. There's the Ezreals that you just don't care about. They shoot stuff at you. It kind of tickles a little bit. You know, they're a nuisance at best. And then there's the Ezreals that like hit you with a Q and it does like 3/4 of your health. And sometimes you just don't understand how it happens. And you know, it's all about the continual CS, getting that early evolution. And that's what we saw last time out of him. So elusive, so slippery, reading the team fights brilliantly. That cerebral play coming out and looking to continue that this game.
Mid lane, I don't think Steel showed there, but he was on a ward, so they have an idea. This pulverizes, the headbutt goes in, that leaves Riev out to dry a bit, but can't really aggress with the amount of minions KaBuM is working with at this point in lane.
Yeah, also the fact that Utapon thought it was going to hit him, so he preemptively buffers the arcane shift. If that wasn't the case, potentially could have turned around for a little bit of damage, but one more time, this is Vivid picking up a heal. Like, he's not an aggressive support player. He wants to play keep away with his AD carry.
Just toying with each other now.
And he's just guaranteeing Utapon farm. He's saying, you know what? I'm here to be a bodyguard. I'm here to play the likes of the Tahm Kenches, the Sorakas, the Braum. I will keep you safe if you promise to carry me late game. Utapon needs to come good on this on that promise in this game. He's got all of the tools. He's going to have a support Karma, a support Braum. Between him and Steel, they need to be able to make it work.
Heavy getting a few attacks pulled in by the chains as he starts to make his way out. And it doesn't look like Ranger will have enough time on that, but they may play this to say, let's do that again. And it looks like Ranger doesn't stay for now. He'll head down towards clear for a possible scuttle soon, I believe. But he's also giving protection over to his mid laner. A lot of here and there, but nothing really activating for KaBuM just yet.
credit where credit's due. I said I thought that this matchup should go in Seros's favor now that he got that first shot, that cheaper build. But the Syndra player has done such an amazing job of keeping this one neutral. Xanten now flashes forward.
He flashes and Steel is there. They play the false sense of security and that Heavy might be dying and Xantis wants it all. Cheaton comes in though, they say we need more aggression up here. Nothing's really going on the bot side, so another teleport is called for Detonation Focus Me to deter the turret on top from going down. This is now both marksmen to the top side of the map.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that was such an aggressive play. Flashing forward, they do get the flash out of Steel at the same time. The squishy jungler now needs to play carefully. However, nothing breaking right now. 1 kill and a dragon is all that we've had so far this game. You can see both teams very keen for some more action.
The reset on bot as Xanten and Evie make their way there. Teleports can still be used towards the top side. This was only the marksman coming in on that fight.
And that was such an interesting play because on the timing, you would think that they would want to be around bottom lane. You would think that the reset would be there for the Infernal Drake. Come back with maximum power. You know, Cheaton with the boots too, with the Storm Razor. Kind of the mixed bag right now for the Ezreal, but this is also a place of power, you know, cooldown reduction tier, that infinite mana status. However, I think that was a surprise punch. That's why they went for the play on the top side of the map, but you got to applaud Steel, read it like a book, and was able to nullify the play.
Slowly getting that vision worked on the top side of the map. We haven't seen too much action from this Nidalee pick from Ranger, usually very pronounced for the team. Has been kind of slowed down in any of his aggression. Still 1-0 as it's been quiet on the home front here for both teams, really. Just a 600 gold lead in favor of Detonation Focus Me with 50 seconds on that Infernal Drake.
And I think that's a good point, Riv, because he does have some good setup. You know, he's got himself an Alistar, he's got himself an Aatrox, but he just hasn't been able to find his way into the game yet. A lot of farming, that's an exhaust down.
Pretty grueling fight here for Xantis as he's getting walked around the patella piercers into the Fear Beyond Death, takes down Xanten.
And that is just Xanten's not respecting the unsealed spellbook. He didn't have ultimate available. He used it top lane for the additional damage. Able to pick up the solo kill and now has access to that bottom lane turret. Huge play out of the carry of DFM.
Waiting for that lane to break. If not the Camille, Evie can still do it on the Urgot. Taking the Aatrox to town on that one. It looks like 6 seconds, Xantens will be back. Teleports are still up for those two, but a little pressure for DFM can be organized on the map, knowing Evie can take those fights now.
Yeah, absolutely, and now goes back, gets double armor items, so he's going to be even more annoying to deal with.
Cooldown armor, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Cleaver's still there to cut through majority of it, but I think that that is the lane that you do not want to get out of control. If you lose the side lane pressure, as we've seen so often, it does come back in a big way. One more time. Really got to respect the patience with DFM that they play the map. You know, they understand that they've got themselves a gold lead, but their map is not in a great position. Udapod on the top side. So they just give up this dragon for free, instead trade it for some vision around the Rift Herald. And now looking for that to be their first objective. One more time, this is just Xanten not really respecting it. Could catch this wave, but his turret doesn't want to do it. Gets hit with the exhaust, gets hit with
bunch of minions.
Massive slow.
Ooh.
It's actually like terrifying when you get hit by that in-game. The first time it happened, I had no idea what was going on. And not only is it a fantastic execute, but as I said, that team fight presence that it gives you with the fear, it's just so unexpected at times.
Rift Herald, Detonation Focus Me. Looks like they'll be able to grab this. A little bit of presence from KaBuM here. Nicely done to knock Steel up, and they actually start to take control of the fight. Just a few more hits on a Rift Herald, but it's actually sitting untouched in the middle of the fight. Vivid's gonna throw on the stopwatch. Riev gets out of it. How is Rift Herald even still walking around as the kills start to go? Xantis in World Ender, but he could go down as he starts to heal a little bit. And they are starting to get the kills over off to KaBuM. Xantis now about to fall. One last shot coming in for Udapon, and Cheaton makes it with a sliver of health. Feeling the wind of the True Shot Barrage on his back.
Yeah, Cheaton sneaks into that pit, able to get the Rift Herald, gets out with his life. It did not look like it was going to be worth it. 3,000 gold lead. Now they're looking to push the mid lane turret, and the fight to go on the way of DFM.
Ceros getting a quick clear on the wave, so they have no troubles there with the next set of minions. And a bit more gold on top of that 3-kill fight.
And we said you don't want the split pusher to get out of control. Well, guess what, Riv? Evie is completely out of control. Another Fear Beyond Death lands there. Got the fear onto Dinkedo as well. and just chunks him out of the fight. No presence coming from the 2 carries of KaBuM at this stage. I mean, as we take another look at it, it looks brave. You know, Udapon's gone back top lane. How are they going to win this fight? But then Evie flies in. Just able to land the slow, able to continue the damage, gets the fear, and then runs it straight at the mid laner, and he still wants some more. He wants Xantins.
Trying to get out. Flash is there for Xantins so he can get over the wall, and he has vision on his side, something Evie does not even after that fight. So with that lead, they're still going to play it safe, but 5-0 now with a 4,000 gold lead at 19 minutes.
And this looks a little bit like how KaBuM looked during their very successful season. You know, carry top lane, are able to exert so much pressure. The rest of the map just holding it down, being prepared for those team fights. We're now getting towards the 20-minute mark, and we've seen already how dangerous Detonation Focus Me can be around that Baron objective with priority in the lanes, with the ability to push out now because of their 4,000 gold lead. This is danger zone for KaBuM. Remember, this is for the shot in the best of 5, and KaBuM right now, I mean, I think they're hoping for a miracle team fight.
I feel like it's something they could take. You have Jinkado hitting something like an unleashed power. You find Udapon once in this fight, and he is the guy that has been so elusive that allows these fights to really continue going the long haul, letting Evie come in, letting the rest of the team use the defense that they brought to the table. But that unleashed power, Cheaton being huge, could zero out Udapon right away. It's very touch and go, but Detonation Focus Me wants to be right on that line of touch and go.
Yeah, absolutely, and that means the pressure on Vivid, the pressure on Seros to be able to deny that, to be able to come through.
Right, you have to be fast.
Continue these protracted fights. Something that Rav's talked a lot about was the ability to push up mid lane, control topside jungle, and attack top lane turrets for the last game, and I think that really DFM have read that well. 2-man Baron now starting up, and they have no idea this is happening.
Good defense on Evie. He's big enough to help do this right now with Righteous Glory and the help from Black Cleaver, shredding it down to 2-man. Wait, it's going to be a quick walk over here from Xantin. He'll have a ward to throw down. 18, it just came back up, so he throws it in. It's all the way across the map as Ranger, so there's no smite there. Xantins can't put himself in the Baron pit, and that is Baron at 20 minutes on the mark for Detonation Focus Me.
What a heads-up play. You could see Ranger thought that he caught Seros overextending. He acted just tasty enough. That meant the rest of the team able to capitalize on the Baron. It looked like a reset. It looked like Evie had taken top lane turret and gone towards, you know, that reset maybe towards bottom side of the map to set up for the proper Baron play. It's a brave call. You get caught on Baron at 20 minutes, you probably lose the team fight, but they don't, and they come out with everything.
And to think of what happened in that fight before, in favor of Detonation Focus Me, very chaotic. It was kind of all about the Rift Herald, and it threw KaBuM for a loop. How do you not at 20 minutes have vision around that Baron area at all? Something that very much fell to the wayside for them, and Detonation Focus Me is preying on these, as we said, small mistakes that become very big for them.
And now they have all the control in the world, you know, 5,000 gold lead. Need to make sure they don't get engaged on here, and Vivid one more time just does his job brilliantly, scouts out Riev. Means they can just allow their carry, Evie, to push in on that bottom lane, continue to accrue the gold lead.
Xantin's forcing top, focus on that split push, which can pull Detonation Focus Me a little thin across the map. They, however, have Evie doing the same job on the bot side, and it's going to be second tier mid turret taking a lot of damage as Detonation Focus Me takes it down.
But on the side of DFM, you have the Baron Riv, you have all of the favors in both sides. Sure, they're losing one laner farm, but they're winning on 2 sides of the map.
I wonder if we even see Xantins come back. They may say stay for one more. It's gold we need, but is it the pressure you need? Is it going to pay off? Detonation Focus Me now waiting for a wave. Not too much clear can really come here from the squad unless Jinkado starts throwing those orbs out, but baroned up minions are going to be very hard to clear. Turret's down to half health as now Evie's on the bot side. Back goes Xantins, and KaBuM may need to fight or watch their inhibitors go down.
And the big thing as well is there's an objective to retreat to, so they can just take this mid lane inhibitor. They know there's not going to be any vision around the Infernal Dragon. They can finally equalize or they can just continue the pressure and try and take down number 2.
What strength for Detonation Focus Me from the LJL. They have tried year after year, but came up short in the playoffs now. With their first representation of Japan at the world stage, they're gonna try to end it on KaBuM, but KaBuM goes in to start it off on their own terms. Riev close to going down, and he will fall. World Ender's there for Xantins, but he's gonna come up short, and the team may lose him as well. Cheetan gets back to safety. 3 members of KaBuM alive may be what they need to stop this game from ending, and Detonation Focus Me is looking for the Nexus.
And Vivid is absolutely popping off right now, able to land a 4-man ultimate. They send their top laner back. He's teleporting in. They want to end the game now.
Santa Braum spawn. He's bringing in the presence. He's bringing in the safety. Happiness for Detonation Focus Me as they take down the first Nexus turret. 7-0 in a statement game as they look to break the tie against KaBuM Esports. And they will take down the Nexus, taking 2nd seed in Group C.
What a dominant performance across the board for the LJL representative.
Beautiful.
DFM first time at Worlds and a statement game. And you can see they are rocked right now, KaBuM. That game was just over in a blink of an eye. 1 Baron, and they pushed to end.
And a Baron that was snuck as well. You consider after everything that's happening, the fights that go, it was not having vision on a portion of the map that swung the entirety of the game. And both teams throughout this play-in stage pushed themselves to the max, and Detonation Focus Me found themselves coming out on top.
And for the veterans of this lineup, for Udapon, Seros, their coach Kazu, who's been with them since I think 2015, first time this team went internationally. That is a sweet, sweet victory. And really across the board, everyone just doing their job, playing well. Evie and Vivid probably the 2 standout performances, but just an all-round fantastic team performance.
They kept it active, the most active team in the early game of the LGL with that 2.1 kill assist at 15. They definitely put the pressure onto KaBuM here. KaBuM wasn't even able to find one of those kills. And as you see, Steel there, very relieved as the jungler of Detonation Focus Me, and I'm sure they're all feeling very good about the placement here in Group C.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was down to the wire. They had such good performances against Cloud9, but they dropped that match against KaBuM. There would have been that hint of doubt, but a solid early game. That mid-game execution was on point.
Yep.
And a very clean victory.
All right, well, to help us celebrate that win in every match from today, let's turn it over for World's Cooldown.
Indeed, welcome everyone to the World's Cooldown, where we're going to comb over today's action and look forward to our final day of the play-in group stage, which is tomorrow. First things first then, Detonation Focus Me does it in the end, in the tiebreaker. They left it a little late. You predicted it all, though. At the beginning of the day, you said, I think it's going to come down to a tiebreaker, and Detonation Focus Me is going to win.
They used the same kind of composition they did when they started off the group. It was the Ardent Sensor, Athene's Unholy Grail, double AD carry, really respectful, and it was just pushing KaBuM. And this is KaBuM's major issues, is that oftentimes they don't get punished in being over-aggressive and CB lol. This was a composition was completely preying on that.
Exactly. I mean, when you see the Nidalee pick come in against this composition, I think you're so excited with how many defensive tools you have to stop the Nidalee from being able to kill you all the time. And, you know, that's unfortunate that they had to play up against that, but Detonation
So
pretty
happy.
breaking
Yeah, I
down in
mean,
Fierce, looks like.
Wouldn't you be? Your first time at Worlds, and maybe what is more, the first time internationally that Japan is able to advance to the knockout stage of the next round of whatever they entered in for the LGL. This is absolutely huge.
And remember, Udapon and Seros have been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
The fact that they've gone this far, haven't found that success, and for them to make it past this stage to a best of 5 to prove their worth to their own country is a massive feeling for them. So really kudos to them.
Yeah, when I was speaking to some of the experts, they say, well, it's a relatively small server, a new server, so we really need that like coming of age moment with not maybe as much talent as there is just ups for grabs for the other regions. And I think it shows, and you mentioned it, Udapon's been around forever. Evie's been around for a very long time. They've all been grinding for this.
That's exactly what I was going to say is, you know, Detonation is the oldest LGL team, but they do have some new players in there, and especially with Evie coming over from Rampage last year. It was really cool to see him come back, and he was an absolute beast biggest, one of the biggest members, I think, for getting them out of this group.
Yeah, especially in this game. We will also hear from Udapon in just a little bit, but I do want to take a look at where groups C and D land after all the action. Cloud9 and DFM are out from Group C. Unfortunately, that's the end of the road for KaBuM Esports, and then G-Rex as first seed and Gambit as second out of Group D, with Chaos Latin Gamers going home, unfortunately for those.
Yeah, so just to speak on KaBuM, a lot of expectations for them to at least get out of groups. The fact that they couldn't really shines a light on a lot of their weaknesses and just playing a slower game. People come back to this years afterwards and we just look at, of course, Titan jumping forward on Tristana versus Cloud9. Both these teams had great opportunities versus C9 because they showed holes, but not being able to nail it on those crucial moments.
Yeah, and I don't want to kick them when they are down, but unfortunately for the CBLOL, I don't think it's been that positive in the last kind of year and a half. Of course, the epic upset over EDG at Worlds for me was kind of the last epic moment that I remember in recent history. They have been struggling in the playing stages mostly this year, also at MSI to get further. So I don't know what's next. I think they need to take a hard look at themselves. So in this team, in KaBuM, and then maybe the other representatives that emerge.
Yeah, just more experience, I think. Because
Yeah.
remember, this is the second international in performance that this team, this squad has really found for themselves. And prior to this, if we're talking about INTZ having that explosive match versus EDG back then, they actually had to go through the IWCIs time and again to find themselves in that opportunity. So for me, it does mean that like 2019 is that much more interesting to watch for this squad.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see what goes on there in the CBLOL. I also want to take a closer look at the 4 teams that have qualified for the next stage of Worlds 2018. And let's take a look at how their chances are in a best of 5. Let's start with Cloud9. They qualified as first seed. They went 4-0, and some of the games may have been hard for them, but you guys don't have any doubts that they will make the best of 5s. Why is that?
Well, I just think it depends on who they draw. We keep talking about Group B, but outside of them, I think they had pretty stiff competition in their group, all things considered, and they didn't lose a game. It got close a couple of times, but I think sometimes you saw them experimenting, trying different things, and I think, you know, when it comes down to it, they do have a pretty good system that they can use, and you know, domestically, when that system starts to break down, they have Svenskeren as a sub that they can bring.
Oh, we haven't even seen him yet.
Right, we haven't seen him yet. No one's going to know what he's playing. He does tend to favor the more controlled style. So you have to pivot really quickly when you see Svenskeren, and it can be hard for teams to do.
Yeah, and the stat what we saw on our screen really showcases the strength that they have. They were in a pretty tough group, and the fact that they were able to get that goal lead, 15 minutes, but then lose so much of it, up to 25, actually speaks a lot to the fact that they do bring in Spencer and they'll have the consistency to really round out that up. I think that the fact that they have this strong of an early game speaks well to their best of 5s.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see who they get drawn against. And in the same group, DetonatioN Focus Me also qualified. I'm a bit up in the air because I thought they had a wonderful day one. They showed a lot of strengths on a lot of fronts. Then they came into the day kind of abandoning the plans that worked for them. How do you think they will do with a day or two of practice?
Remember, Worlds is tough competition. So I'm not, like, honestly sure they can get past this point, but we're talking about EDG, we're talking about G-Rex. It's not looking good. Sure, they're incredibly happy that they got to this stage, but there's so much room for growth here, and we're talking about top-tier competition to really get to that point.
Yeah, I think they're pretty big underdogs against every Pool 1 seed that we've seen thus far. I do like the kind of style that they have, but sometimes it does feel like they kind of tunnel on, like, this is what we're going to play heading into this game. And the biggest thing about best of 5s is adaptations, of course. And we haven't really seen that. We saw the same couple comps a couple times, and I want to see how they react when, you know, someone beats that comp. Like, what do they do from there?
A possible opponent might be G-Rex. They are the first seed out of Group D. They were quite a surprise to a lot of people. Third seed from the LMS, and in the end, making true on what was actually true for the LMS for a very long time. They are a major region, and all of their seeds used to be competitive. And they, I think, are showing up as possibly a new strong generation.
Yeah, I mean, and those stats are disgusting. I mean, almost a 2,500 gold lead at 15 minutes. The major lead at 43% of the time is huge. And so this is a squad that I thought looked super good, and I love that we saw different looks out of them. We know Candy loves playing Assassins in the mid lane, but we also just saw plenty of Syndra and Cassio, these kind of control mages recently, and that speaks to having that flexibility in a best of 5.
And I wonder who they're going to play to once they get pushed in the 2v2 mid, because honestly, the fact that they can then go towards Stitch, who had a phenomenal game today, or PK, who's a great carry top laner. We saw one Camille game later, like on one of the group teams that picked it up. So I feel like if they get pushed in a best of 5, that they have so many options to play through in their other solo laners.
I agree. MT, of course, has been an absolute revelation. It'd be interesting to see mid-jungle wise where they actually have a lot of competition. We can look at who they get drawn into in the end. The second seed, though, from that group was Gambit. Yeah, that was hit and miss, I think. To be completely honest, I don't have that much faith for them going into best of fives. I feel like a lot will have to change.
Yeah, kind of we were just showing the stats about why G-Rex looks so good. So that means that Sona's on the other end of that beating, and despite being, 1-1 today, that's still abysmal looking stats.
Yeah, I think that Gambit right now are looking to be the weakest of the tier 2 teams coming into this. And I think Kira, I haven't seen this much, like this worse of a performance coming out of Kira specifically in the laning phase. Kira has always been one of the standout performers. And just to my point about this, he played the Zoe and he played LeBlanc, I believe. He played real stock standard champions, and it really felt like the champions that you look to really master, he's more of an, he either has a weirder champion pool, but he hasn't really mastered.
Well, he definitely has a weird champion pool. I mean, his Anivia is like his go-to, and he also played two very different champions from what he played on day one when he went for the Galio and sort. So it feels like he doesn't even know where he wants to go.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say is like the two matchups he played today were skillier matchups. Like these are things that can go either direction, and he got kind of slammed in both of them. And then the one good game he played is the Galio, where he's working as a facilitator to his team, which does not speak to his individual matchups that well. And going into tougher Pool 1 competition in the best of 5, I am really concerned about how he stacks up.
That being said, if he can come out as facilitator, I think that works well for them because Logic is looking very good. I think his AD carry as the rookie, I suppose. I mean, I know that we saw him coming in to MS.
He seems like the best player on that team.
He is the best player, and so we need to see a lot more of the team rallying around him.
All right, let's take a look at the today's MasterCard players of the game. It's been 7 games, so from the first 6, G-Rex, no surprise, Candy, wonderful performance, Diamond Prox, and that win from Gambit, Stitch, Sneaky, Ranger, and Licorice. Interestingly enough, there's a couple of people here that were not in the first couple of days. Ranger, who tried today, who did well in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to him. He was someone that we were all kind of calling out a little bit on the first day, wanting to step up, and I think he did it all day long and did get that first player of the series, of course, or player of the game, excuse me, but couldn't quite figure it out, and that's last game. The Nidalee pick just doesn't, I don't like it.
Yeah, I think that if we're talking about consistent performance for KaBuM, it was him and Jinkedo that were doing quite well throughout the tournament. And then if we're looking about players that I really clanged onto, Licorice and specifically, I know that we're going towards the top laner, so
I just want to mention that Evie was the player of the game for the last one.
There we go. I love the fact that he was able to get it. So like Licorice, Evie, great top laners coming out of the groups that I really enjoy from both C9 and Detonation Focus Me.
There we go, and we're hoping for a lot more superstar performances of the players as we go on. And I think Ovalie is standing by because she caught up with Utapon to hear about their victory.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Utapon, the AD carry for DFM. Congratulations on your win. This is now the furthest that Japan has ever gotten in the entire history of Worlds. So what does it mean to you to have brought the team this far?
はい、ADC のユタポンさんに、来ていただいております。プレインのラウンド2に出場ということで、LJL で史上初の、快挙となるわけですけれども、今の気持ちはいかがなのでしょうか。
そうですね。最初に1勝できて、結構感触が良かったんですけど、その後に3連敗かな。をしてで結局やっぱここでまた僕たち終わっちゃうんじゃないかっていう不安もある反面途中なんかその最後の試合の途中からすごいエビさんがもう動きだとかボイスだとかですごいもう元気づけてくれてそこで勝ててもうすごいここからも頑張れるなって思えてすごい良かったなって思ってます。
So we had a really very good start beating KaBuM at the first day, but then we lost 3 games in a row, and then a team and he was very concerned about maybe we're gonna lose it again. LJ are not gonna make it for next round. But then Evie, the top laner, was very cheerful and very aggressive in the last fight, and so everybody brought it up their morale and then came back.
He did have some amazing Urgot ults, but kind of going back to the LJL, historically, the LJL has not had very strong performances in any international events, but now you guys really have a chance to change that and to really draw a spotlight to your team and your region. So what kind of an impression do you hope to leave here at Worlds?
LJL って今までインターナショナル国際戦であまりいい成績を残していなかったわけですけれども、これでプレインラウンド2でですねノックアウトに行くということでこういろんな海外から注目を得ることになるんですけれどもLJL としてですね印象というか残してきて爪痕みたいなものってどんなものがありますでしょうか。
い やっぱり今回僕たち結構意識してたのは自分たちのやりたいことをやるってことで、このプレイスタイルを見せつける世界に、それが本当に目標だったんです。で今回この最初のステージ突破できたっていうことで、自分たちのプレイスタイルどういうものか、日本がどういうものかっていうのをすごいちゃんと見せれたかなって思って、それがすごい良かったなって思ってます。
So LJL has very unique play style, and our goal was to actually show the play style to the world. And then by winning and then moving on to the round 2, I think we have successfully made that happen.
Well, I'm sure a lot of fans are incredibly happy to see you guys move on. Yutapon, thank you again so much, and best of luck to you in the upcoming stage. That's it for us here. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much.
I am stunned she didn't ask him about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or something. She just talks about that show incessantly.
Listen, come on. This is like Amelie's first Worlds, and she's trying to do a good job, and you're like the devil on her shoulder, be like, talk about anime. That is also like short-sighted of you. We got to talk about the victory, man. It's more than anime to Japan.
I know. I'm just surprised given how she comes on my show sometimes and just talks about anime.
Well, I mean, Worlds, your show. Come on now. Alrighty. Any case, let's look forward. Great job, Amelie. Don't listen to him. Looking forward, groups C and D are decided. So now we will look at who their possible opponents may be. This is the schedule for groups A and B. And straight off the bat, Supermassive takes on G2. I'm not nervous at all. What are you talking about?
God, I feel like every day you always get that first game being the one that draw your eyes. So 100% Supermassive versus G2. And remember, G2 have to do it twice.
Yeah.
So they get this victory, congratulations. Wait until the end unless Ascension comes out with a surprise victory. So Ascension is that team that you do have to watch and say, don't get slipped up a few times. The early games with Ascension have been really surprising.
So yeah, let's just talk about, well, what do you guys think is going to happen?
I mean, we saw it in the first time where like they were able to make a lot of plays against G2. Now, they often came at the expense of their own XP and CS, so they have to be a little smarter about it. But if like G2 can get pulled down just a little bit more into that kind of like just barnyard fight, then that actually is a game that they can lose. I mean, that's basically what happened with the KaBuM story that we talked so much about with against Alliance way back in the days. You just get pulled into this super early game scrappy situation.
Well, I feel like it's such a momentum thing, right? Because that Supermassive game, they said that they thought Supermassive is really strong, but I think they also believe that if they play better, they definitely have a better chance, right? Because they did nothing in that game. I think it's a momentum thing, because if you lose that one, then you're in that zone of, and now we have to win versus Ascension, or it might be all over. If you win that one, you're golden, of course, obviously. But yeah, it's close, and I think, I don't know, I don't see Supermassive dropping a game, to be honest.
Ooh, I'm going to come in here and I think that it will go to a tiebreaker.
Well, then I have to, you're always right.
Wait a second. I'm going to take it. So I feel like, remember, the biggest point that G2 came out of that one is drafting. And what drafts meant for me for that specific game was that if they lose on that early window, they didn't have a chance. Yeah. Like at that point, Perks was completely useless. And you have to empower your strongest player. So coming into the next series, I feel like they're going to go for tank top, regular, let's say Oriana. It's just something that can.
Oriana, no.
I use that as a stock.
It's like you go like from account.
I went to a stock standard pick that says if you lose your early game, that you still have an opportunity later on in the game that can give you that chance in team fights.
So I definitely agree about the idea of like the win conditions. They themselves admitted that they felt pretty narrow in that game. I still think I would want Wunder not on a tank. They had that in that game, and that was one of the reasons I thought their win conditions was hurt, because Wunder getting his own leads is something that I thought was always really important for them in their wins. So not having that option felt bad. So I do agree, maybe not so like, here's a Kali, Perks, carry us, you're our main threat. Yeah. But I would still like to see a fair amount of aggressive picks, because they are a good early game team.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. You have to put stock in Perks. I mean, I think he can do it, and maybe I'm just delusional, but I think it was a one-off that he isn't able to do anything on Akali, and all credit to Supermassive. But yeah, it is tricky, because you can't start doubting yourself in this moment.
Yeah, and remember, Jankos did have a great early game lead last time around. He's a great early game jungler, so if we're talking about early game, they should be able to get it. Comes down to how you end up going towards the team fights. So 100%. G2 for me, I think they should take that run back. But if it goes into the tiebreaker, I'm going to have Supermassive, because they feel like a much more co-sync line.
For number one, then.
100%.
So number one, Supermassive. Number two, G2.
What you
Mark?
What you got?
G2, what was it, yesterday? I think I said G2. I'll still say G2 for now, but I want to see how they look.
G2 first?
Yeah, I'll take G2 for the first one. I'm holding out a little bit on the tiebreaker.
Lock it in.
All right, yeah, give me G2 Supermassive. Just
all right, there we go then. And then EDG, of course, Direwolves and Infinity in the other group. EDG look untouchable. Looks like even with just small hiccups in the later game.
Yeah, that one feels pretty cut and dry, where Fire should be coming back in the Direwolves. They had already beaten Infinity pretty convincingly without him. This should just be a bolster of their early game, and EDG put the smackdown real hard on both teams. So this group feels kind of cut and dry.
What you gonna say?
My
Wait a minute.
opinion is, my thought is that there is a world in which you have this like new order with the Direwolves, the fact that Fire was gone, and all of a sudden they played kind of a different way. Triple felt kind of enabled to do his thing. The bottom lane was okay. And if Fire comes in, he also is a guy that does attract a lot of attention to himself and gets a lot of resources to himself to carry. And I think that is a change that they'll have to deal with that could make it worse for them just because of the change, not because Fire is a worse player.
I like how you embed that, because I remember, experiencing the LPL. WE lose Kandi, and suddenly Xie looks like the best mid laner there next to Rookie. That could be a possibility. That being said, I have so much faith. I know Fire as a player, and I know how much confidence he instills in the lineup because he's the best jungler in Oceania by far.
Hey, Ubisoft looked pretty good.
He got smashed early game. I don't want to hear it. And so this should be a major bolster to the lineup that they're going to be playing through him. And then you already have Triple. We saw what Cupcake could do in the bottom lane. I think they come out second with EDG on
Also,
top.
no disrespect to Ubisoft. It's really impressive to step on the world stage and play those games.
Right, and is EDG playing Infinity first tomorrow?
Yeah, right after Supermassive.
Right, which is what concerns me, is if they just get slammed again, like how is their confidence going up against Direwolves, where if you win, you do force a tiebreaker potentially, but like, are you really going to be able to take that mental beating again?
Yeah, that is a good point. We'll see how it goes. That will do it for us here for tonight. We're going to say goodbye to Lopar and Soul and to everyone here, from myself, the casters, and the entire crew. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the conclusion of Play in Groups.